I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Wednesday. Hopefully, it'll be a wonderful Wednesday. And if we do have, as scheduled, the excellent company of the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Sabrina Turner, as scheduled, well, it'll be a good discussion. Looking forward to that. But things happen. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And as mentioned, we have on our schedule the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Mr. Sabrina Turner. So, according to a good friend Ray Mansing and Sales, this is what is set to come on today. So, as you know, we know the demands on our elected parliamentarians, especially the ministers in cabinet. Their schedules are demanding. So if you mix it, we're always honored to have our company and have a share. If it doesn't, we'll extend an apology. But now and then, let's hear from you. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us. Sometimes it seems that in the height of the summer, we're all engaged, distracted, otherwise preoccupied. It seems that now, for the last 18 months or thereabouts, the world is in a tailspin. Individually and collectively, we find ourselves on either one side of the coin or another, and a flip of the head of the tail, or even on the end. Not always good, but there are those who are making what seems to be, money hand over fist. Seems to be the measure of man these days instead of metal in the can. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's a Flow toll-free call if you want to share your thoughts with us. Or you can dial us up on, any of those numbers, 949-8037, or call toll-free, 1-800-534-TALK. WhatsApp always works for those who like that measure. Well, 925-3261. A couple of things I want to share with you. One is the increasing number of individuals, employees across various sectors who have reached out to share somewhat of, a sentiment that they're feeling forced, bullied, pressured, cajoled, coerced, and otherwise, involuntarily told that they must take the injection or risk losing their jobs. Not just work permit holders, not just, people who want to renew or come for the first time, but existing people. Some would say, they would take it willingly. Others say they'd be incentivized, but there is a sentiment of pressure, as it were. Now, a few of you, and I say them, shared this view in the past publicly because it was something that we were receiving for a while now. But a few have said, well, maybe it's time to talk about it publicly. But for some reason, there is a growing reluctance on the premise that the conversation in and of itself, based on just, what is transpiring, may not be perceived by some as according to one individual in particular, the intent to have a conversation as to whether it's the right thing to do. Does it infringe on human rights and people's freedom of choice and the like. Now, as one individual shared, there was not just the direct threat from the employer. Well, if you don't take the injection, or some call it a vaccine, come next day, you won't have a job. Someone said the employers have said, listen, we're looking at promotions and bonuses, and we're going to want to know, who's taking it and from who hasn't. And very clearly from the conversation implying that those who have it not only risk losing the job, or if they keep the job, no bonus, no promotion. Now, is that a way to incentivize, or is that bullying and threatening? Well, your choice. Back to the comment from one individual who says, well, from a legal perspective and analyzing the human rights, is that something that we should at least talk about? It may come out that is the way to go, just like anything else, because of the nature of the thing. Or it may be, as he said, it may just be another bullying tactic, by the head of hand to run things. Well, your thoughts. 949-8037. Toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. The other thing, as we can discuss whichever and whatever and whenever and however, well, let's do it now. But we have a comment from Bishop Nicholas Sykes. He sent it through to us earlier. He sent it, this morning to Mr. Ord on the For the Record show, but probably with the time constraints and the like, he wasn't sure whether Mr. O.C. was able to make the comment during his program this morning. But Bishop Sykes shares that this comment that I'm about to read on his behalf was in response to Mr. Steve McField's and Mr. Connor's comments expressing the view that to another caller that there was nothing wrong with the governor and the premier appearing publicly in support of the Grey Pride Parade. And Bishop Nicholas Sykes shares this comment in response. It reads, he says, the governor and the premier both need to respect the Constitution. Section 1, subsection 2 says it is not a matter of who comes into the country. Section 1, subsection 2 says that our Bill of Rights must respect Christian values as well as other things. When governors and premiers are invited to parties that intend to overtake and overcome Christian values in the Cayman Islands, our Constitution effectively directs them to decline because they are public figures committed to uphold core values of the Constitution. That was something that was written and sent to us by Bishop Nicholas Sykes in response to comments on our sister show this morning. But what is your view? Now, in reading that, some of you may agree and some of you may vehemently disagree. Some of you may say, well, it's probably somewhat akin to an employee in an organization, maybe a senior manager or a board of director or like being offered a gift by a client or a prospective client. And there may be rules in the organization that says, well, you can't accept the gift no matter how much, no matter what kind. Or there may be rules that say, well, you can, but only if it's less than a certain sum. No gifts over $50 or no gifts over $5 or no gifts of this nature. Now, we have seen in examples, sometimes very innocently, naively, people, politicians included, business leaders and other civic members in the community, accepting a trip somewhere very innocently. Perhaps they were very much, taken by the offer to hop on a private jet or ride in a fast car or stay at a posh hotel or, vacation at a mansion, whatever the case is, And sometimes it may have been nothing more than an innocent gesture, nothing to induce, influence, or somehow gain the attention of the person which is being offered, and on the person that is, sort of considering whether accepting, may just very naively, innocently say, oh yes, it'd be nice. I always wanted to see, this place or to do that. And this would be a good way. Now, in this day and age, maybe we need to be ever more conscious and cognizant of those things, or maybe we take things of that nature and, what I say, exaggerate them to the extent and blow them out of proportion. But again, two issues that you may want to consider talking about. There certainly are many things that are transpiring, not the least of which, someone shared with me as recent as mid-morning, as it was almost verbatim a comment yesterday, and throughout the last few days, given the things that are happening across the globe, from the flooding in places to the seeming political turmoil to the almost incensed response by many, and that it would appear that the world is in a tailspin, and for some, well, they say, prophecy is being fulfilled. For others, they're saying it's just an orchestrated coincidence, all sorts of things. Well, it's good to be able to think. It's even better to have the freedom to talk openly. Hopefully, it's always accepted that is part of a healthy democracy. Hopefully, comments are, one, are uttered in a responsible, respectable manner, and two, received as such. But it's great to be able to have a discussion with someone that does not necessarily share your view. If it's a cordial discussion, you can be amenable in your discourse, and when you leave that sort of heated discussion, even, there's no vitriol, animosity, no malice. It's all about trying to enlighten. Well, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Let's pause and take our first break. When we come back, if the phones work on your end and on ours, well, if you dial them, they'll connect. If you talk, we will listen. If you ask a question, we might answer. If we engage in dialogue, who knows? Some discourse might ensue. You never can tell you what happens, with a willing and receptive people. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Census 2021. Cayman, get ready. Starting 10th of October 2021. Rockers will be counted. Little Cayman, we come in. People get ready. 2021. Information is secret. 2021 census. Starting October 10th. 2021 census. 2021 census. 2021 census. Everyone counts.
Join the group limited for a hospitality recruitment open day at All Star Sports Bar and Grill, located upstairs in Queens Court Plaza on Wednesday, July 28th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. They are recruiting Caymanians and residents with rights to work for multiple food and beverage locations in the following positions: HR assistant, accounts assistant, office administrator, bartender, server, dishwasher, barback, food runner, restaurant host, supervisor, events and entertainment coordinator, guest concierge, line cook, commercial and residential cleaner, beach attendant, maintenance assistant, groundkeeper and security guard. Full job descriptions will be available on the day. Please bring a copy of your resume and a photo ID. For further information, contact hr@thegroupltd.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. It is open line, and as we shared, we recognize and appreciate, like many of you, how taxing, how demanding our schedules are. Our lives tend at times to be very, very hectic. We can just imagine our parliamentarians. So if the Honourable Minister for Health is able to, she'll join us. If it isn't, please allow us to extend an apology. But until then, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's a floor toll-free call, 1-800-534-8255. Now, it's a lot transpiring and a lot been shared. And as I was listening to some sentiments earlier and even into the evening yesterday, it's unfortunate, as one lady put it, that it seems that the sense of reasonableness, the sense of being able to ask a question is even quelled in many circles. And to receive an honest, forthright, open answer sometimes is almost nigh impossible. And she said, why? Well, she recalls, growing up, being heavily influenced by her religion, and she thinks now that she has sort of moved away from the religiousness, I think was the word she said, and now more on trying to figure out the spirituality of life, not so much in seeking her faith, but being reminded of it, that in Cayman, that is her home, she thought that would be easy. She would be able to quickly, draw on a community of such, only to find that maybe it's not even so much anymore on paper, and that the few, as she used the word, she said very reluctantly, but the few saints that may be around are either seen as pious and self-righteous, or in their actions are not unwavering and resolute, but are indeed, somewhat coward. Strength, when they're together, and courageous when they're alone, but unwilling or incapable or unable to pick a position and make some sort of a public utterance. And she said that in talking to, a pastor of one of her former churches, it would seem that there was greater diplomacy and political correctness in that discussion than she would have expected, from the most seasoned diplomat. Now, when I asked her, well, what does she do? She says, what can you do? Now, that was not other than despair and hopelessness, or hopefully, in a sense of a cry for help and a desperation. But she shared, even in her own employment situation, as seasoned and senior as she may be, she still recognizes that there's a level of accountability to others in the organization, as colleagues, but as supervisors, as well as the clients and, the regulators. So when something is being required, whether it is some problem more familiar with in the financial services sector, you're asked to produce some level of documentation as part of the due diligence, and you don't comply, well, chances are the account isn't opening as you wish. The funds won't be transferred or deposited, or something else will trigger, and then there'll be, quote unquote, an issue. Well, many of those things have become accepted as the norm because we got to, rightfully so, not look after issues that could affect society and let them go, unattended. So when it comes to issues of terrorism or money laundering or other illicit activities, well, it's important for jurisdictions to work together to ensure that we don't have that sort of behavior being sanctioned. But then what is it the song that says, one man's sort of uprising and war and rebellion may be seen as a insurrection by others. What separates a coup by civilized society over a government that it sees as one that isn't necessarily far from a dictatorship, despite the semblance of a democracy, and yet sometimes in other jurisdictions they'll be championed as freedom fighters, whereas in some they'll be seen as mercenaries or something else. Well, perspective, I believe. What is on your own mind, though? 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp 925-3261. Or call us toll free, 1-800-534-8255. Then, of course, 949-837 works as well. We had a interesting comment from an individual. Sometimes, when these things transpire, you may say, a little too early in the day. But this gentleman, obviously, as he shared, have had, in his view, now he realized it was not just a privilege and an honor, but it was, in his mind, sanctioned. To have traveled, to have lived and worked in different jurisdictions, and to have been able to see, many different places, to interact with different cultures. And it wasn't that he was searching for anything in particular. He just thought that in order to really, really have a sense of knowledge, all the academic training he may have acquired and the education at different institutions, the work experiences were for naught, had he not had the opportunity to travel. Now, he says, as an individual, without any major commitments and with being positioned somewhat with the financial resources to do, not to the extent that he wished he had, and in hindsight perhaps shouldn't have done and gone in some of the places that he did, but it only strengthens your level of knowledge, not just experience and expertise, but awareness and understanding. And he shared that there was a place he had visited, and when he traveled back to the Caribbean, he realized that they were not that dissimilar. Now, language may have been different, but some of the practices, some of the attitudes, very similar. And he said it only reminded him of how we can be divided by, skewed ideologies, how we sometimes, put asunder by politics, by bigger hands at play. But when it comes down, as he puts it, to the nitty-gritty, we are all people. He related of an experience where he was in somewhere in the South Pacific, and he said it reminded him of an old movie he had watched, of the wartime era, and the fellow was stranded there on the shore. Now, there wasn't the same level of romance. It wasn't as comfortable and the creature comforts that you think you of when you sometimes want to travel to these remote places that are now the bastions of wealth and the like. But he said in the simplicity of that life, of the people who seemingly didn't run around with grass skirts and coconut shells and live in huts, but somewhat primitive, if that is how we would measure them when we compare to the lifestyle of some of us in more urban areas. But he shared that they lived and what they eat and the way they work to eat. It took him back to the stories that he heard from his grandfather, about growing up in the Caribbean on what would be akin to, a plot of land from which you got all your sustenance. And if you didn't provide, for yourself by the work of your hand, you probably didn't have much. And if the weather, and the lake weren't cooperative, but you had even less. And here's the people that they're able to take from the sea and from the land foods that somewhat, he was unfamiliar with. And he said, one of the perhaps greatest regrets that he didn't spend longer there. Now, he said that it tested him because he did not understand how, and his words. And I had asked him, and I think but for this comment, he may have been courageous to share with us publicly how weak, he said. Not just physically weak. When you see the gentleman, you realize that from what he shared back then, as muscular and athletic and healthy and fit that he is now, pictures, if they're indicative, and from what he shared, would indicate that he was even more so, a decade earlier as he traveled. But he said weak, in that their work and their lifestyle was laborious. It was by the sweat of their brow that they provided. But not just weak in that sense, but weak in flesh, weak in spirit. Here are people who have accepted that part of their survival comes from a reliance on each other and a sense of sort of communion with nature. Now, as you listen and interacted with a short time, he said, none of the wonderful places that he stayed since, the operas he may have attended, or the fancy restaurants in which he had dined, could compare. And now I asked him, if all the places he would return to, would that be one? And a resounding no. He says, if he couldn't cut it then, he probably couldn't cut it now. I thought he would have returned. But he thought, decade plus has transpired. And instead of him becoming stronger, he's becoming weaker. And I asked him, well, what did he mean by that? He said, simply, a reliance on technology and on other things, and less on each other. Less on, the thing that probably connected our ancestors. The belief that everything we do, just happens magically. And nobody understands the importance of going to the backyard anymore. And those that do either realize that it's part of survival, or sadly, he said, it's probably just of a changing fad. And the cost that's incurred in doing that is exorbitant. That there is no value in money. And that tomato or that plant that is reared in the backyard, harvested and then brought to the table, is comparatively more expensive. It's organic. But yet he said it doesn't have to be. And therein, I think, as he was sharing, I thought, as I listened, I thought, maybe sometimes we don't always appreciate how life takes its turn. How, we can be enriched by our travels, but how we are sometimes just oblivious to what is right before us. And by sharing, we can be that much better to others. Let's pause and take a quick break. And when we come back, give us a shout. 949-8037. 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Or WhatsApp 925-3261. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands if traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing nola.sanderson@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Dreaming of a great career or degree? The Caribbean Examinations Council offers regionally and internationally recognized qualifications to help you get there. These include the Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence, CCSLC, the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, CVQ, Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE, and the CXC Associate Degree. These exams may be done while in school or out of school at private learning institutions. Visit cxc.org to learn more. With CXC, you're in control.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
For the first time in over 45 years, the University College of the Cayman Islands is having an alumni homecoming gala dinner on October 28th. The event highlights the kickoff of the UCCI Alumni Network, a community of professionals helping the university and one another. If you're a UCCI graduate, join the network today and let your fellow classmates know about it. Visit ucci.edu.ky/alumni and come give us a hand with UCCI's first ever homecoming.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. And share your thoughts with us as you wish on any topic that you want. You know, a fellow was saying on Saturday, he said, you know, this is this time of year, and more than likely, you know, he would be very much, you know, in the midst of his summer travel with the family. But with everything, it's not going to transpire these days because of all that is happening. And more and more individuals, I think, are starting to appreciate the significance of where we are and what sort of, you know, we are in a sense of interconnected and dependent, but also prepared sometimes to stay the course. He said that he didn't understand how he had become accustomed to the summer and wanting to be able to do the things that he would traditionally do in the summer. Last year, well, so it was an anomaly, not a problem. This year, almost the same thing. And the level of sort of restrictions he thought would have been eased. As he puts it, the ability to do and be somewhat back to what it was, but in a better state even, not as evident as he expected. And then the approvals that have to be in place in order to move reminds him how easily and quickly we've taken so much for granted. Now, like many, I think he says, we have family and friends around the globe, and as we speak to them, whether on a video call of some sort or just text and type, well, their lives, irrespective of almost where we are, almost the same thing. The restrictions and where to be at rolling intervals. We've all seemed to have experienced something. And he was wondering, if people were to equate this to a World War III, well, he shares, wouldn't it be unfortunate if that was the perspective? Because in war, like the soldiers on the battlefield in the trenches, like the things that would happen, as we've seen in documentaries, or he's had family members relay from their own experiences, to the air raids and the sirens that come, to almost, he said, as a family member said, that news that comes of the loved one being killed in battle, and then sometimes weeks or even months later, their last letter that they posted arrives. Now, think of the realities, he said, of that compared to now. Well, you figure it out. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp 925-3261 if you want to share your thoughts with us, and maybe cause some people to engage further into what we're discussing as we move on. And as tempting as it is sometimes to invite people into the political banter, perhaps sometimes that is the norm of many of our daily lives, and for others, it's perhaps one of those discussions we try, and try, and despite our efforts, can't avoid, because it seems that the politics is everything, and everything is politics for some of us. So, with that notation, what is on the political horizon and that landscape and that discussion table that you would want people to maybe at least consider? I share that to say that the notion that our parliamentarians now are the recipients of a pay raise may have irked many as being either untimely, but without being accused of being sort of coming to their defense, is it unwarranted? Is it that we believe that they are undeserving of it? They don't earn their pay as it is? Or is it that we believe that, well, they do but not them? It needs to be them and them but not them. Well, is it that the job, comes down to performance, and more importantly, for us as the individuals who are entrusted with that performance evaluation, to make a determination? And do we wait until the contract period, the next election, or do we intervene? Is it similar to you as a supervisor and an employee isn't necessarily doing and performing according to the job description or the expectations? Well, maybe if it's a case where you're on a job site and you're the plumber and you need 1,000 length of pipe to be laid a particular way, but you realize that your journeyman plumber or apprentice is laying pipe, but it's not water pipes that they're laying, and they're not laying it where you said or in a manner in which Do you wait till they finish, with 1,000 feet? Whether they do it in an hour because they weren't doing it properly. They didn't dig the trenches, they just stuck them together. Or do you wait until the end of the day, knowing that this is a 10-day job, for argument's sake? Or do you stop, as quickly as you realize it and take corrective measures? Well, there are many of us who unfortunately would think that the thing to do is to stop and fix it. Many of us will wait until it's all done and say, yep, I could have told you so. What is that? What is happening with many of us? We're waiting for people to hit the wall before we not just remind them that there's a wall up ahead, but we actually intervene and say, listen, you might know, but there is, and here's how you, navigate it. Well, where are we? Helping or hindering? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. All right, we're approaching our headline news at 1. And we invite your calls and your comments. And I've got a couple of messages from the WhatsApp that I would look at and perhaps share if that's the intent. Please stay tuned. Join us after the news break.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Police received a report of a fire at the Foster's Airport supermarket around 11:19 Tuesday night. 911 Communications Center confirmed the fire originated from the Foster's oven in the kitchen, which was eventually extinguished. No extensive damage occurred due to the building being ventilated, but everyone was evacuated. Police say no injuries were reported. Turning to international news now, people who have been fully vaccinated in the EU or US will not need to isolate when coming to England and Scotland from an amber list country. The change will come into force on Monday. Currently, only people who received the jabs in the UK can avoid quarantine when arriving from amber list France. The UK government said the rule change would help to reunite family and friends whose loved ones live abroad. The company that made a rifle used in one of the worst school shootings in the U.S. has offered $33 million to several victims' families. The proposed settlement for the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre from Remington, America's oldest gun maker, came as part of a bankruptcy hearing for the company. It also comes in response to a lawsuit brought by families of 9 of the 26 victims. Each family would receive some $3.66 million. The Australian city of Sydney extended a lockdown by 4 weeks on Wednesday after an already protracted stay-at-home order failed to douse a COVID-19 outbreak, with the authorities warning a tougher policing to stamp out non-compliance. Lockdown had originally been scheduled to end in 3 days. Instead, the city of 5 million people and neighbouring regional centres spanning 200 kilometres of coastline were told to stay home until August 28th, following persistently high case numbers since a flare-up of the Delta variant began last month. Those are your latest headlines here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land. Explore your sister islands.
Although very similar to their Grand Cayman counterparts, organized religion in the sister islands was spearheaded by the work of Baptist ministers as opposed to Presbyterian missionaries who started the churches nearly 40 years after that in Grand Cayman. In May of 1885, Reverend J.H. Sobey, minister of the Second Baptist Church of Montego Bay, visited Cayman Brac at the invitation of the Brac seamen. During his visit, Reverend Sobey held the first service in a large house, and it was so overcrowded that the following day a tent had to be erected to have the service. In 1886, Reverend Sobey returned to Cayman Brac with Secretary of the Jamaica Baptist Missionary Society, Reverend E.J. Hewitt, in order to introduce Reverend H.W. Rutty as the Brac missionary worker. Congregations started at various settlements with the construction of 2 chapels in Stake Bay and the Creek. The progress would continue, and 6 months later, Reverend Rutty was ordained as a permanent missionary, and more congregations were formed in West End, Spot Bay on the east end of the island, and South Harbour in Little Cayman. Reverend Rutty's son and grandson would go on to become Cayman Brac's collector and Chief Justice of the Peace.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Join the Group Limited for a hospitality recruitment open day at All Star Sports Bar and Grill, located upstairs in Queen's Court Plaza on Wednesday, July 28th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. They are recruiting Caymanians and residents with rights to work for multiple food and beverage locations in the following positions: HR assistant, accounts assistant, office administrator, bartender, server, dishwasher, barback, food runner, restaurant host, supervisor, events and entertainment coordinator, guest concierge, line cook, commercial and residential cleaner, beach attendant, maintenance assistant, groundkeeper and security guard. Full job descriptions will be available on the day. Please bring a copy of your resume and a photo ID. For further information, contact hr@thegroupltd.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. 949-8037, or if you want, 949-6990. If that flow toll-free line evades you, eludes you somehow, you just can't make it. Well, it's 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. In reference to our earlier comments by Bishop Nicholas Sykes about the governor and the premier, need to respect the Constitution. Some further comments. Section 1, subsection 2 says that this part of the Constitution, as the whole Bill of Rights, recognizes the distinct Christian values of the Cayman Islands. It is wrong for public figures such as the governor and the premier to show public support for groups who oppose what the Constitution prescribes. It says, really can't have the governor overthrowing the Constitution. Section 28, a public official specifically includes the governor as part of government which the Constitution binds. The governor is not outside the Constitution. 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp 925-3261. You can also call us toll free at 1-800-534-8255 and share your thoughts. What are you sort of, thinking about our Constitution and the idea of rights and responsibilities and the freedoms that people should enjoy? For some of us, we think, well, this is all for naught. Let people do what they want to do when they want to do it, where they want to do it. Others will say, well, doesn't matter who it is. Maybe there are certain things that should not necessarily transpire in public spaces. But we see increasing tensions and frictions among many. And again, back to the comment that was shared by someone earlier that talked about, is this just the face of the times where we are, perhaps at the end of times, when people are at odds with each other. So the battles are not necessarily, what we see in this realm, but they are actually occurring in another. For many, immediately would dismiss that, and for others to say, yep, that's exactly what they believe. Well, what do you think? What is important, and where do we go, and what do we say, share from the things that we see and hear? 949-8037, 949-6990, or floor toll free 1-800-534-8255, and share your thoughts as you wish. WhatsApp is there, voice note, or you can type it up and send it through. 925-3261 is our WhatsApp, 925-3261. We got invited earlier and to look at some sort of documents and photos and that a few of our citizens have been sort of tracking in a sense relative to not only the beach accesses that we may see along the West Bay Road, the Selma Beach area, but even into the Bacchus area and the lake. And one of the fellows indicated that they had asked, some of the residents on Little Cayman and Cayman Brac to pay attention, because presumably, from the fellow's comments, that given that there are not a lot of activity, especially on Little Cayman, that some of these accesses are slowly being encroached. Vegetation is allowed to grow over. Not that many people using it as much, and as perhaps the adjoining lands between, the accesses become acquired by, cooperative developers, whether by the same property owners or not, it's easy to have that access sort of, go by the wayside, as the fellow alleged, because in some cases, the access is probably not the most convenient spot for that property if it was going to be developed. It could be very much down the center or off on the side that, would be better. Now, when he shared that, he quickly said that, if a property is 1,000 feet long or 100 feet wide or whatever it is, and they would like to move the access from one point to another, as long as it's not impeded, and not as long as it isn't restricted or somehow reduced in size, maybe people could be amenable. When you're facing the property, doesn't matter if it's on the left side, down the middle, or the right, as long as it allows access to the beach, to the water, and the activities that could take place there are not hindered. For some of us, nope, it's always down the middle, that's where we want it. Fair is fair. Others would be, well, we can't have that, let's find a way to get rid of it altogether. It comes back to, as I listened to him, comments where later shared, people are no longer engaged in meaningful dialogue. They're not willing to be amenable. It seems that the game is, he who dies with the most prizes is the winner, as opposed to he who lives and enjoys it for the longest. Well, your sentiments. 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. There is one individual who has messaged me, and I've asked but no responses yet, who has said that there's a little bit of a challenge trying to call up on the toll free number. Well, it does happen from time to time. We know that the ICT network sometimes can be heavily subscribed. We know that with weather and last night's lightning could have created an issue for some. So WhatsApp, let us know if you have an issue. Try dialing 949-6990 if you do. If the 1-800-534-8255 isn't working, try the 949-6990 or the 949-8037. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
How are you today?
Oh, the Brother George thing, wonderful, blessed, and highly flavor. Thank God.
Well, we are indeed, and we are also cognizant of the times in which we live. But hope also.
We now got COVID, and we now got that so far, so we thankful.
Yeah, well, we do have politicians and aspiring politicians and despots and all sorts of puppet masters walking over the face.
We kind of iffy on them now too. We're not sure if we got them either.
Yeah, but I mean globally, not just locally, right?
Anyhow, the subject that you're on there talking about the parade that we're about to have, like Pastor Sykes said, it's a shame and disgrace, as far as I'm concerned, that the governor and the premier, especially the premier that the people elected, knowing our constitution, and we were built on a Christian foundation, it's a shame and disgrace for them to even be participating with that parade, because that's against, as far as I'm concerned, they should not be doing that. And that's my belief. And men more with sentiment, same thing. But we also got the pastors that are now, I don't know if you've seen it, I'm sure that social media has had it on, where one of our Caymanian pastors, who I thought, and that's my thought, was supposed to be coming from a well-Christian foundation, her father and her mother being Christians, as I thought. I can just say I don't know, and maybe I was wrong, maybe I'm right. As a Christian foundation, to go ahead and to pursue a marriage between between two women, because it was a woman's marriage, that one. And I thought, I'm very shocked, because I thought, not because the governor pulled his 801 card out of the deck and throw it on us, I thought that our constitution was still being upheld, that marriage is in between a man and a woman. They went to the Legislative Assembly and they voted unanimously for it to remain between a man and a woman. To be turned on the TV, turn on the phone, because social media gets everything, to see one of our women pastors to marry two women. Now, I don't want to call her name, and everybody knows who it is, but she should be ashamed of herself to have children.
But sorry,
that's my opinion.
Right, but there are, I think the title is marriage officers. People who are licensed, I guess that is, authorized to marry people, and the law, how it is now, says, well, 2 men, 2 women, they can do it. Now, it hasn't yet been changed that, 2 men can marry 1 woman, or 1 woman can marry, 3 men or 3 women, or, me and my chair and my dog can get married, but, it might happen in some country. You never can tell.
Well, if the marriage took place that 2 women can get married, if he can have a man wanting 2 wives, or he want to marry 2 men, how you going to stop him now? How are you going to stop him? Biblically, it's wrong. We know it is wrong, but we are allowing the law to carry on with it. It's wrong. They put the Bible on time, shut up, and then they bring out the law. Where are our country going to? They should be ashamed for the love of money. For the love of money.
But
for the love of money is what's got us where we are today with this foolishness.
Right. But is it then, and only to ask of you, but as we look at it, shouldn't people, adults, consenting adults, after, if they seemingly of what they say, you enter the marriage of sound mind and free volition, right? Should they not be, as a consenting adults, free to decide how they and with whom they want to spend their lives, whether it's a marriage or union, whatever term we call it? Do you think that would be fair in civilized democratic society?
To be honest with you, no.
Okay.
It's not right. That's not what Cayman has never been that road, and as I said, if you want to be one of those, you keep it in your closet. Why should I have to now change my laws to bring so you can get in public to kiss up, or to have your affair out in the public as adults? Our law was you did it behind closed doors, and if you want to do it behind closed doors, you want to do it to be together, there should be no marriage. So if you want to consent one paper that says, that your documents is mine and what you guys mine is yours, that's fine, you go do that. But don't tell me I got to change my law to make it legal so that you can get out in the public and show off and kiss up in the street. If you look, in my opinion, the biggest objective we had was when just after we had that Italy had that big parade, there with all their vulgarness going on the street, and then we had a break out of COVID. You think that was just a coincidence? No, that's what made it break out, because there was so much of them going on with their whatlessness and everything. So people would say the whatlessness, and in my opinion, it is wrong, and we as Caymanians need to stand up. We need to stop playing dead. We need to pass an association. We need Caymanians. We should have did with this. That's what we did with CPR for the port. Get a petition and get a referendum and go to a vote and take the damn thing out from the government.
All right, well.
Excuse my language, because I'm very upset.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, I guess we hear worse language than that sometimes, huh? All right, but thank you for that, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, enjoy yourself, and hopefully a little dinner might go a long ways, huh? Or a little corn turtle. Either one right now. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Like the caller, if you need, you can dial us on 949-6990. I'm recognizing that many of us are having a little bit of a struggle and challenge getting to so-called. But the WhatsApp is working, so let's read this one. So it's like many other benefits, our right to marriage has never been absolute. There have always been limits to what can be regarded as marriage. It is not merely an issue of what a person or two people want. Alright? Well, you tell me. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990. And you can share your thoughts. You can, call us on 949-6990. The sentiments expressed there been echoed by this other listener who has shared this comment. As I read that one and read the other one, it's interesting. Huh? This person is saying, look at what inflames us, and how we'll be mindful as to how I share this. Not that I don't think it's important, and not that I, but sometimes, like the caller before says, mind my language, I'm just frustrated. And it happens. We all do so. But this person's WhatsApp, sort of, as I paraphrase, look at what inflames us and what divides us and how we get caught up in the red herrings, as it were. And in reading this, the person shares, fully support the last caller. I think that the law should reflect the norms of society, but adds two things: our society that we think and don't realize has changed significantly because of the changed population, but also the changed mindsets of our own people. Whether it's tolerance and acceptance, whether it's being educated and informed, as this person writes it, or whether it is a case of becoming tired and weary and now trying to take up the mantle and fight another battle. But then it goes on to write, are there not other issues that are probably as important, or in this writer's view, more important? The behavior of two people of the same sex in public should not offend if the behavior is the same as a married couple in public. Now, I hope that I read that part exactly. I put the phone far enough away to see the screen. It's not cracked, thanks to the good folks over at Cellular World. I managed to mash up the screens, and they managed to say, "Give me the money, we'll fix it for you." So I paid them, they fixed it, and it now works. So I appreciate that. But I share the last caller's point. Is the behavior of John any different than the behavior of Mary? And unfortunately, the answer is, well, it depends. Who's John, who's Mary? And we know that many of us have the view that some of us can act with impunity. We can do and get away with anything. Some of us can't even look the wrong way on a sunny day, and we know what transpires there, right? Well, to that caller's got a question though: are there not more important or as important issues facing us? Well, why don't we ask that question? We asked the question yesterday. We got a couple of answers off air, but no takers on air. I don't know. Maybe it's time for something else, right? But we asked about what are some of the solutions to the public transport issue. We know about the complaints. We rarely hear about the compliments. We understand from people that have been alleged that they complain and there's little or no action taken to remedy whatever it is that's complained about, or to say, this is what was said, but really, this is what it is, and sort of set the record straight, as it were. But what about solutions? I mean, some of us even struggle to complain because we don't have that much ambition. Some of us just really don't have any concern, and we're just going about life in la la land. And then those of us who become so beat down and despondent that we say, it don't really matter, because why complain? Who is listening can't help, and who can help not listening? No. But let's find solutions. Is there a means? Do we all just walk to work and ride our bicycles? Do we all, put on the roads as potentially some of you have shared? The idea behind it may sound good. The notion that it could be less traffic congestion and less pollution. But have we ignored the potential for liability and allowing, seemingly by law, to legally allow the use of these, motorized modes of transport on our roads? I say that to understand that there is, perhaps an ingenious way to correct or address or mitigate some of the traffic woes that we face. But if we who ride, a nice big, wonderfully outfitted motorcycle, understand the dangers of that because of maybe the inattentiveness or just the mishap, accidents happen, right? Or if we ride our bicycles, now, any of those colliding with anything, the chances are probably not as safe as a vehicle. Even a vehicle isn't as safe as we would like it to be. But if you're on, some sort of a scooter-like thing, a skateboard, or these little, motorized electric things that you stand upon, or some of us have been ingenious and managed to fix a seat of sorts, or these other things that look and sound very much like a motorbike. Has a handlebar, a seat, a wheel in the front and a wheel in the back, and it can go and stop, and it looks like a motorbike. Now, it may not be, that big, but you remember those little 90cc scooters that we all thought were absolutely dangerous, but somehow we banned, anything that was a big bike over 90. But if you're a rider, you realize that, if you have a good bike and you understand how to ride, you can roll and move as you need. The smaller bikes, like those mopeds that used to be around, you had to almost steer and turn them physically, as opposed to a motorbike where, what is it that we ride who say, look, lean and roll. So going back to those, two-wheel devices that are motorized on our freeways or bypasses or highways, is that something that we should revisit? Should we do as some have shared and get rid of all the cars? And only those things should be on our roads. Well, who knows what will happen, If you can be told to be on the house arrest when you're otherwise healthy, well, perhaps you can be told very soon that you can't, drive your vehicle on a road that even after you pay the extortionate insurance or licensing or inspection fees or whatever it is. Or you're told, well, like the Bermuda, this vehicle that is now, built and manufactured in this way, well, to import it, you need to cut it in half and melt it back together so it's no bigger than this, or you can only own one. Now, some of you think that is the norm. It would surprise many of us how many people live in parts of the world where they don't have a driver's license, they don't have a car. And in fact, owning one is not only a luxury, but it's expensive. Not just people in supposed third world nations, but the people in highly urbanized areas. And maybe in those urbanized areas, they have something that we were asking and haven't been addressed. Reliable, safe, proper public transport that allows them to get from wherever they are living to wherever they want to go and back home without it, feeling unsafe nor expensive. We're going to pause and take a short break. We invite you to share your thoughts if you so choose. Let's give you a couple of more options if you want. 949-6990. 949-6990. Our apologies for those who are still struggling with the toll-free line. For those who can, dial it up. 1-800-534-8255 or 949-837. You can WhatsApp 925-3261. We'll look at these ones that came in and share them with you. That's the intent. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045 and pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences. Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast, and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to Macgrass Grocery Store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Eat, drink, and save money with BIP. Get the best deals across the islands exclusively with BIP. Introducing BIP Deals and Offers, home to the best money-saving coupons. And that's not all. Join the BIP Marketplace, the best place to buy and sell your items for free. Even better, win free lunch every Wednesday and stand a chance to win great prizes daily with BIP. Just download the free BIP app today and start BIPing.
The following is a special announcement from the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association. The 6-Out Backpack Distribution continues this week in Cayman Brac. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman members, you can pick up your backpacks on Thursday and Friday, July 29th and 30th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturday the 31st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Seaman Center on the Bluff. Members are asked to please bring identification to speed up the collection process. If you are collecting bags on behalf of another member, please bring a written signed note from that member with a copy of their ID as well. Retired members, please make sure your membership is up to date for your collection of your bags. That's this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Seaman Center on the Bluff. 6-Up Backpack Distribution. We look forward to serving you, our members.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. You can call us at 949-8037. It is open line, 949-8037, 949-6990. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Got a number of WhatsApps we want to read. But the flow toll-free line may or may not be available. What do we do about that? Well, try dialing it and see if it works for you. 1-800-534-8255. Some get through, and some have a little bit more persistence. But I want to share a couple of WhatsApps that come through. This first one says, no matter how many genders this world invents, the truth is that God only created male and female. In support of the previous callers, we've got a couple of other WhatsApps that we'll share with you, but let's take this next caller. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yes, hello.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good to hear from you, man. Hope you're well.
Yes, sir, I'm well, man. I just listened to your show today, and as usual, you pick a nerve. Why you're there, to hear people talk.
Well, I like to listen, and I enjoy learning. And sometimes if we are, humble and kind, with a great sense of humility, we may actually be better.
Likewise.
Thanks, man.
Okay, what I call on to about is the LGBTQ plus situation that we have going on.
Right.
Okay, as the lady alluded to earlier, yes, the government is totally wrong for what they're doing because you can't coincide with something that's against your constitution. That's number one. But what I want to find out now, are we looking at law over morality, or which one would you say is the better one? Because I think the moral fact of it, like, I'm 45, and nobody can say I'm homophobic, because for the last 45 years, I don't have no criminal record of abusing or cursing or anything to anybody of that caliber. Yeah. So I have lived with them all my life. I have some great associates I know, because there are people, everybody's an individual, not everybody the same.
Right.
Not everybody can have a big eye, not everybody can have a slant eye or a small eye.
Right.
But we have to accept everybody for who they are. But the thing with them, or the thing with this group of people that I have been noticing for the past couple of years, they act like they're extremists. It's like they want to force what they believe in on you, and if you say anything against it, to say, well, it's not really too right. It's like they try to ostracize you in a way, to say, well, boy, you're hateful, you hate speech and stuff like that. Like, where's my right to say, well, all my life for 45 years, the Bible that I uphold and I read, it tells me it's an abomination. And all my life I was taught that it was wrong. So even now, in my life at 45, I'm still trying to deal with and to accept. And not really fully accept, but just to accept that's their way of life. And they are just like me. They're no different. They have feelings. We love what we love who we love, and nobody could change that. Because everybody is a different cup of tea altogether. But at the same time, it doesn't make it right.
Right. But you used an interesting word, and I was trying to recall a discussion some time back that sort of looked at our language, how we use verbs, and the word homophobia, if I'm mistaken, probably is relatively new in our lexicon. Probably didn't come into probably the late 60s, early 70s or thereabouts. If I recall a conversation from someone. So if you think about it, you said you were 45. So let's say that word came in 1970. This is 51 years, 52 years later. That is in itself a long time, but not that long a time for the word to sort of have been around.
Correct.
So is it then that we are, as a people, like you shared, we need to be loving, kind, tolerant, accepting, but then to all. But is it that the way some of us, and I'll say this hopefully that it won't strike a nerve, but it'll get people to think we set about with an agenda, ulterior motives. The politician who wants to, or the aspiring politician, or even the established politician who wants to ensure a certain dynamic may speak to an issue, get the people riled up, as it were, to support something or bring a level of discredit against something. But what about just bringing things to the fore because they're right without a hidden agenda or without an overt, very calculated view to displace people or to, set things in motion?
Well, you see now, this is the thing now, people are already in tune to this the deception.
Yeah.
We were trained this way. Because, okay, you know who I feel for most out of this whole crisis with the LGBTQ
Our children?
people? No, the pastors.
Why the pastors? Interesting.
Because all their life they have been to these programs and all these meetings and everything, and it was always said this is an abomination. And now they're being forced to accept it as a norm.
But how
and it goes against everything that they believe in.
Okay.
So what's their right?
Right. No, I like what you said. I was going to say our children, and if you was, if it's okay, we can maybe come to that. But our pastors, I'm interested in what you're saying. I hear.
Yeah, I feel it for them, and I really have an outcry for them.
But if they like many who have been to church and have been told that scripture, maybe we've actually read it, maybe we don't understand it. But two things, unless I'm mistaken, I understand that there is for any person who can perform a marriage in Cayman, the law can allow them to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this, right? We are told that some churches, as part of their policy, their dictum as it were, will say to two people, a man and a woman, because you were married before and you were married before, we can't marry you, right?
Yeah.
So seemingly if they can refuse on those grounds, I think the law now allows this without them having to be worried about being challenged in courts and the like. But if you feel for our pastors, I mean, is it because they don't have the courage and conviction to stand on their moral as well as their religious footing to say, listen, I mean, I'm deliberately interested in why we should feel sorry for them if they're cowards and not stand up courageously.
Well, sometimes we got to fight for the cowards, the ones who have a voice. We have to fight for the ones with the voiceless.
Right.
Because they're in a peculiar position, because they throw all kind of scriptures at them. I hear it on the radio, I hear it in public, I hear it in private. They throw the scripture at them that God so loved the world that he would give his only begotten Son. Right? And whoever believes in him shall not perish and have everlasting life. And so he says God loves everybody, no matter what you do. So God is of love, so we must love and accept them, but nobody accepts the thief, the rapist, the pagan, nobody accepts them.
Or even the politician.
Or even the politician.
The person that we expect the most from, right?
But they forget that the Bible also tells us the direction that our Father told us to come as you are.
Right.
He didn't give a direction to say, you come as a holy man, come as a rich man or a broke man.
Come as you are.
He said, I accept you as you are.
Right.
And that is my belief with it. So everybody's in that equal form,
Right. But I mean,
not everything you do is going to be right.
Yeah. Like Bishop Nicholas Sykes, I hope he doesn't mind me using him, but I think he's a great example of someone who, because he is a religious person, and to your point earlier, I can see why you would feel sort of, like you said, sorry for him. Here's a man who, on his religious principles and convictions, have spoken publicly and has shared, here's a view, not just from the scriptures, but from our Constitution. So he has the courage and the conviction, and he has been leading the charge, as it were. But what about, and I'm not speaking in the Cayman context, but around the globe?
Worldwide.
Yeah. Well, how many of our churches are more like...
stand up.
Yeah.
Well, I've spoken to Mr. Sykes on the radio on the Rooster Talk show once already, and I asked him the same pertinent question about the same subject. I asked him if Jesus met one of these people while on his journey, what would he have done? And you know what this man answered me very intelligently and told me? He would have healed him. He would have healed him. So if something is wrong, and there's a case of a judge, a sitting judge in, I think she's in Pennsylvania, or one of those places. They disbarred her because she said she was not going to do the man and man, woman and woman marriage. And she fought for her right, and they had to put her back in her capacity in the court because she has rights also. So it's like they're trying to use their right to supersede mine. So like I don't have no rights.
Well, is that part of the challenge then? As I listen to some people, and I was trying to invite someone on, but I understand the reticence. Her view was just like you're sharing, your right to marry who you want, associate how you want, should be okay and accepted, respected, and illegally, prescribed and protected. But that should not take away from my right of being sort of offended by that thing. So is it then that there is an agenda, whether on one side to promote it as, accepted and expected and all this stuff, or on the other side to say, nope, we're going to set you straight, no pun intended.
Well, I can tell you a thing now, what is desensitized people, right? You keep on showing them something so they see it for the real, it doesn't become a shock. Okay? This world, from the beginning, it shows you from the Bible, from Sodom and Gomorrah, what the Romans used to do with their sadistic selves and all them kind of things. So it's been around from eons ago, right?
Right.
But now it's coming to the forefront. You see what they're doing with it now? They put it in commercials. They put it in the movies. Put in every series that you could find on the television and the cartoons.
Right.
They put it into it. Why would they say, let us put this into the schools at the primary school age and the preschool age and not the colleges first?
Right. But therefore, that's when I say that
the young minds are more
susceptible
of a sponge to be
influenced.
In person. Yes. They have no choice.
Right. So therefore, that's why I say that, for me, it's our children, no matter what it is, right?
Definitely. It's a detriment to our kids.
Yeah.
It's a detriment to the future.
Right. No matter what the issue, right? If an issue is one that, because as you just shared, our children are very intelligent, more so than we give them credit. They're very impressionable, right? They're like you said, they're sponges, right? So we've heard it from many people. If you want to address the environmental issues and recycling, you start with the children. We know that if we inculcate in them a certain ethos, if we expose them, indoctrinate them, if you want to call it propaganda, and introduce it to them, whatever that thing is, right? If it's orchestrated, it could be for a positive way or it may be construed as negative. It's propaganda and it's indoctrination. So it's our children. And to your point, whether it's anything on the television or whether it's in the music or whether it's otherwise. But what about in our schools? We're told in the UK, for instance, increasingly, we are hearing it's happening in our own schools, that you can't teach from the Bible, right? But you can bring in a book that shows very explicitly, the behaviors of, two men or two women, in concert. I was told by a few people who, in trying to find information to talk to young people, decided to do what all of us probably ill-advisedly have done. Pick up the phone, type in one of the search engines and, look for this topic. And
what comes up.
Yeah, and on a couple of occasions, topics of trying to find how to talk to your children about sex, you see it very explicitly coming up from reputable sources using a reputable search engine that we would all probably use. And not only is it explicit, but instead of showing
something, them to the other side.
Yeah.
I have a 7-year-old. I have a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. I've been through that same phase. I do it on my own old school.
Yeah. Well, interesting.
Because right now, BET is a family network, right? Forever. And the last BET Awards was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was voiced by more than me. Even celebrities voicing it and all kind of different things. And there's no way that could be family orientated. They have an agenda pushing it to a certain way.
Yeah. Well, you see the consequence, right? You see our young people and their parents starting to...
Exactly.
Okay. So it's interesting. You're a man of great intellect and insight, a great courage and conviction, and you're willing to share your thoughts. May spark others to share a view. They may agree or they may disagree.
Well, to agree or disagree is not my point. Is to educate and to provoke thought.
Yeah, man. Stimulate discussion.
So I myself can learn in return,
Yeah, man. That's how we do it,
Yes, sir.
All right, Bobo.
Yes, sir. You have a good day.
Blessings to you, man. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's pause, I think. Take a short break. But, hey, like the caller just shared, if we're going to learn, we have to learn to listen. If we're going to listen, then others have to talk. If they're going to talk, they got to be, from an informed perspective, hopefully. Well, share your thoughts with us. 949-837, 949-6990. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Summer, the season for backyard gatherings, beach parties, office socials, and camps for kids. Make the most of your summer party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters or double meat wrap platters and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your summer with Subway. Visit Subway.ky for menu options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Calling Caymanian nature lovers. If you are an avid Caymanian environmentalist, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds in the UK have opened up recruitment for a part-time post as Community Engagement Officer in Cayman Brac. This 3-year position is perfect for an enthusiastic, passionate person who would like to help protect some of the most threatened reptiles on the planet and safeguard unique pockets of our sister islands. For more information on the part-time position, the advertisement is reposted on the Cayman Islands Department of Environment social media pages. Deadline to apply is August 1st, 2021.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you. For the record. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for Cayman's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record. Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. 949-837 or 949-6990 or WhatsApp 925-3261, or you can call us toll free with the compliments of Flow 1-800-534-8255 1-800-534-8255. And if you dial that 800 number and it doesn't work for you, well, 949-8037 or 949-6990. From our WhatsApp, let's read this in reference to the lady that called earlier. She made a good comment. Cayman must remember that we have a unique set of laws. They are what set us apart for success. Let's continue to be unique and keep them congruent with God's divine laws. Let's read this other WhatsApp message. Find this one's okay. We got that, and I can't answer that one yet. So this one says, There are probably a few issues that are more important than the ability of future generations to know who they are for, who their fathers and mothers are, and indeed whether they are male or female, according to absolutes, not completely subjective ideas that have no connection with reality. With this upcoming parade, what happens here will impact our future generations. Will we make it impact them for good, or will we stand aside and make it impact them for gross evil? Because we are in a dangerous situation in which laws are passed that diverge from basic morality. This marks the downfall of Western civilization. We have a constitution, however, that reflects reality and basic morality. We must work to retain it. If a governor tries to overthrow it, he has no constitutional mandate or ability to do so, and this should be resisted. The Premier, too, should remember he is a public figure. Well, share your thoughts. That's one side. 949-8037, 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Of course, the Flow toll-free number is available if you can use it. And if you dial it up and it doesn't work, well, dial the other number. And what it says, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be entered. Well, they say persistence and perseverance and pays off. So 1-800-534-8255 if you want to call and share your thoughts with us. But to the last caller's point, did you find that to be something you agree with? Do you take umbrage to it? Is it that like so much we are conflicted and confused, we're not quite certain what the conversation should be? Is it unfolding and we're not even present or aware that is actually happening? Well, I think like many, we recognize the trick of the enemy is to keep us so busy and occupied that we don't even have time to think. And because we're not thinking when we do act, we're probably reacting and acting and reacting in a manner that isn't consistent with forward momentum that brings about positive change. Our interactions in our daily lives are probably nothing more than just superficial. How many of us have made meaningful connections that are going to bind us for all times? And how many of us are going to look, very, very deliberately and very, pensively to be discerning? Let's share this sort of comment from our WhatsApp. This afternoon, I agree with Bishop Sykes' message today. The governor and the premier could have declined the invitation to join the Pride LGBTQ event. They do so in other invitations. Plus, our Constitution is quite clear. End of statement, period. That's it. All right. Well, what is your view? I mean, do we say to people that, politely, will attend just to be polite? Or we politely say, sorry, we can't attend? Do we, even if we want to, do one or the other, we are not able to do so, as Bishop Sykes reminds us, our Constitution sets out the parameters under which public officials can't participate in certain things. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. As many of you have shared, and as this WhatsApp sort of reminds us, it isn't so much that we are looking at things in one vein, but as this message sort of reads, isn't it about tolerance and acceptance? Isn't it about what and how we would want to be treated if it was us who were being discriminated against? Are we not willing to look at things and see how they would affect others? I want to consider what we would do if it was us. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi. Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Hey there. I wish that I was in the health condition to be walking in that parade with them poor people, children.
All right. You would go?
How I look at this thing now,
Mm-hmm.
is that everybody's complaining and complaining. I don't give no right for anybody to do whatever, like what they say, being You know, Cayman use the real words, but you know what I mean, being gays or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think that if any of my children had became that or one of them, I wouldn't hate my children.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hate because that is my mother's heart. I love my children, you know what I mean?
Right. Uh-huh.
But it's just like a child gets in trouble and you continue to be there for them. It's not that you was for it, you know what I mean? It's the difference between for it and being there for them. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like they're saying the governor and the premier going out there with these people, but they are humans just like us. They're just like if they want a premier to see them, they need help with something or they need this or they whatever, the governor doing something that they don't like, or they get done into the government. It's just the same thing. And I rather them to bring it out to light than to have it in the darkness, that going in the dark corners and to want about it to know, because you don't know who to keep your children from and be aware and all that. So you know.
Right. As I listen to you, I mean, the heart of a mother, the heart of a parent will always love that child unconditionally and be supportive, right? I was just trying to find the comment that was sent to me, but you know, it may not be quite written, but I recall it. And the person said that if you recall, when the former premier was the Minister of Education, now I was trying to confirm that was when it happened, but as the Education Minister then, he certainly was an elected member of the House. He was very much part of the that parade where people go up and down during the Bogaboo thing that they have done. And the person's comment, I wanted to read it so that it reflected exactly what was said, but the gist was that there was no big outcry of morality of an education minister of all, but also a sitting politician, to be in that garb, you know, front and center of the parade, being a part of all of what transpired. We didn't have an outcry then of morality. Why is the difference now with, you know, public officials supporting, you know, this lifestyle or whatever?
This is not a parade.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a carnival where you dance, nothing wine, and nothing exposing yourself and carrying on and stuff like that. And they say they're not going to have no alcohol or anything like that. So it could just be a parade in the streets, I guess, to make them know that they are like that. And then, you know, want people to accept them. And they're not into like, so they can take this out and carry this in the public and bring it on to you or me or anybody. That's what they're trying to explain. And probably most of them have their own partners already. So, you know what I mean? So, and if they do have different partners, then they, you know, they're not really bringing it on to anybody. They just they're saying clean and straight. They're not bringing this thing on to anybody, forcing themselves up on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They're going out there and they can parade and you know, enjoy themselves just like everybody else. And say not gonna be no alcohol or anything like that. So that even better than having carnival, because the carnival they having alcohol and they can carry on out there like one piece of thing like they never had a dance or anyway in their life.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, and with great respect, we'll pause and take this at the break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news. Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Global travel site Big 7 Travel officially releases its annual list of the 50 best islands in the world, naming Grand Cayman as one of the best islands in the world. Grand Cayman in the Cayman Islands is 33rd on the list. According to travel site, it says 7 Mile Beach is among the many reasons why Grand Cayman is considered an ideal tropical destination. With sparkling waters and coral sands, it is so perfect it almost doesn't look real. Turning to international news now, a Colorado police officer has been arrested after being filmed threatening to kill a man during an arrest. Body camera footage shows Aurora policeman John Hobart using a pistol to strike the man, saying, "If you move, I will shoot." The arrest comes amid intense scrutiny of police misconduct in the U.S. following the 2020 death of George Floyd, which sparked national protests. The U.S. sanctioned Syrian prisons, Assad regime officials, and militia leaders on Wednesday, marking the first time the Biden administration has introduced new sanctions on the country. The United States is sanctioning 8 Syrian prisons, 5 Assad regime officials in the institutions that run those facilities, 2 militia groups, and 2 militia leaders. Secretary of State Tony Blinken said in a statement, "These actions underscore the U.S. commitment to promote respect for human rights and accountability for abuse against Syrians." Simone Biles has withdrawn from the individual all-around competition to focus on her mental health. USA Gymnastics announced on Wednesday her withdrawal comes after the 24-year-old, one of the greatest gymnasts of all time, stepped away from a dramatic team competition on Tuesday, citing mental health concerns as she attempts to protect her body and her mind. USA Gymnastics said it supported her decision wholeheartedly, adding in its statement that Biles would be assessed every day. Those are your headlines. I'm Christy Wells.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The story of the new NOCO, Friday at 12:15 on Radio Cayman CI Retro Talk Today. The new NOCO, a modern Cayman Island ship of its era, departed Cayman July the 4th, 1936, 85 years ago, with 22 people on board, 14 passengers, and a crew of 8, never to be seen or heard from again. The new NOCO's story, 12:15 p.m. Friday on Radio Cayman. Brought to you by
Thompson Shipping, a name synonymous with cargo and goods to and from the Cayman Islands. Let Thompson Shipping take care of your shipping needs. Thompson Shipping, 949-8044.
But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It is open line as we go into the remaining sort of leg of today's wonderful Wednesday's edition of Talk Today. 949-8037, 949-6990. And again, you know, that's because it's free. Doesn't mean it doesn't have value, but just because it's free doesn't mean it's worth anything either. 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261. Let's say here a couple of WhatsApps that we want to read. So it's in reference to the governor and the premier, who should be reminded they are two public figures. So they are not just like us. They are actually represent the community in a way that we as ordinary people cannot. What they do is what stands for publicly. They are not free to forget that. This other emailer access to or person sending it through WhatsApp access, so you could read this, and it's quite nice. So it was penned, some time back, and let's read it. It says the Lord's Prayer is not allowed in most U.S. public schools anymore. So this was written by a student, sort of a response to say, now I sit me down in school where praying is against the rule, for this great nation under God finds mention of him very odd. If scripture now the class recites, it violates the Bill of Rights. And any time I hate I bow becomes a federal matter now. Our hair can be purple, orange, or green. That's no offense, it's a freedom scene. The law is specific, the law is precise. Prayers spoken aloud are a serious vice. For praying in a public hall might offend someone with no faith at all. In silence alone we must meditate. God's name is prohibited by the state. We're allowed to cuss and dress like freaks and pierce our noses, tongues, and cheeks. They've not outlawed guns, but first the Bible. To quote the good book makes me liable. We can elect a pregnant senior queen and an unwed daddy or senior king. It's inappropriate to teach right from wrong. We're taught that such judgments do not belong. We can get our condoms and birth control, study witchcraft, vampires, and totem poles. But the Ten Commandments are not allowed. No word of God must reach this crowd. It's scary here, I must confess, when chaos reigns, the school's a mess. So, Lord, this silent plea I make, should I be shot, my soul, please take. Well, many would tell you the U.S. is a mess, but so is the EU. The question is, where are we in all this? The world seems to be in a downward spiral. I know sometimes my life feels like it is. The question, as someone shared with me during the break, are we not cognizant and that we are fighting in a spiritual realm, not just here in the physical? Now, for many of us, we don't pay attention to that because it means nothing. For others, we become so embroiled in it that we aren't, aware. In fact, as a fellow shared, we're oblivious to what is transpiring right before our eyes. The attack is real, my friends. The question is, are we responding in love and in kindness, acting with a sense of humility? And are we looking at it, trying to improve? Well, easier said than done. Let's take our calls. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, dear.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to say that concerning the subject, people speaking about, let us not forget the earthquake that we had. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you too for that. That was the 28th of January last year. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you today?
I am thankful and blessed. I must share, I'm grateful. How are you?
I'm truly grateful, just the same. One of the things that we need to realize or remember is that a lot of people invest or come here for a reason. They come here because of things that they're either staying away from overseas where they're from, or they're trying to look a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And another point that I would like to share is, as a Christian country, we need to remember that God doesn't bless sin. It doesn't matter what it looks like. God does not bless sin.
Sin can't presence in.
That's something we need to keep in mind.
Right.
That's the reason why He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
And He only took a few, right? So He's the same God yesterday, today, and forever. Let's keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And our leaders need to remember that, they're representing the island, the country, the people.
Mm-hmm.
And things that they are doing, it's affecting us, like,
right.
So
if I can ask you though, and I say this not only with utmost respect, but understanding that people, perhaps like me, question it. Are we still a Christian nation? Is this truly a Christian country?
I think we have lost the vision. We have lost the vision. And as much as I would hate to say this, but the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
Our leaders, our Christian leaders, have now become greedy to the money and to the things that, that beset you, the things that easily beset you. So their eyes are now covered,
right. But even in our churches though, right? Have we not heard, if not often, at least once, from the pulpit or church leaders share, you can't be a Christian and a politician. There's no place for Christians in politics. I've heard that more often than I wish to acknowledge.
It's under or because their decision that you will have to make that it will it will somehow contradict the Bible and the Word of God. And
but if I might, let's take an example and guide me, please, and thank you for weighing in, because I think we're going to find ourselves in a very pivotal time in our history. But let's take business, right? So let's take across the table, you got two people negotiating a deal. If both are honest and ethical and honorable, then that deal might go forward, right? If one is looking at, boy, let me see if I can, cut corners here and break it off in the next one, and which one of those business leaders would you want to get into business with?
Someone who is honest.
Right. So if in politics, if our churches are telling this congregation that you can't be a Christian and be a politician, that you can't honest people in politics, what are they going to expect to happen?
It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah. Interesting, man. And I'm not saying that to offend anybody. I'm just saying that the reality is, if you see a wall up ahead and you walk into it, and you say, gee, I didn't see that, and then you walk right back into it. I don't know, Bobo. Talk to me. If there's anything else you want to share, I'm willing to listen to you.
We're in a critical time.
Yep.
And one of the things that God has revealed is that our leaders have become blinded by things of this world, and covering up the truth is no way of getting out.
Nope.
You know, it's like you have a church, and the church, the people that come into the church, they're walking through the church to go to hell. You know, and that's not something. You know, if you correct your child, and that child keeps doing the same thing, then that child's blood is no longer on your shoulder.
Right.
You know, and that's something that we need to take into consideration. Anyway, you be blessed, and I'm listening. I wish the premier had given a different answer. You know, there seems to be.
But there's a level of
going in the right direction.
Yeah. but think of it, right? The premier as a politician decides to do or not do. There are those who would castigate and those who would compliment. So he's probably caught between, a catboat and a sailboat. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I know.
But come on, you gotta be. If you are standing, you stand for what is right. Otherwise, you're gonna fall for anything. And this is the thing, and we keep missing the mark. It's a very thin line between right and wrong. Very, very thin.
Sometimes,
very thin. God bless you.
Amen. And to you. Thank you. And today I could use the blessings, boy, because it's been a rough one. Let's go to the phones, eh? Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon, Dwayne. Make I tell you, whether you feel blessed or not, God is still blessing you.
Amen.
You're doing a good job, and you're a good person, so you have to feel blessed.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. But there are days, when you're reminded. So, but go ahead. Let me listen to you. Thank you.
This is my opinion now. The premier represents everybody. The governor represents everybody. And the premier got to do what he has to do. The Constitution, yes. The Constitution has been broken already. We had a former premier that was in trouble 2-3 times. Definitely 2 times. Beat up women. I never seen any church or any so-called Christians. That is what is ruining our young people, because they are looking at these people that call themselves Christian and they preach it in church. But when they get out of church and they're in shops and there is maybe gay people around, teenagers are there too. And you know what? They avoid those gay people. I've been seeing pastors do that.
Well, even some of the pastors are gay.
Pardon?
Even some of the pastors are gay.
Exactly. And you know what they do? They get married and have children to think that people, they're straight. That was only talk because they're straight. But the Bible didn't say teach that in you must teach that in church or wherever you go, but you must hate the gay people. Look, we have gay people all over this world. Cayman is no different.
Right.
Let the Christians get used to that. They're not harming anybody.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, some of them are neat people. They mostly hold good jobs.
Well, I would say to you, in support of what you said, a particular country from which we have, many have come to our shores, and their climes may be a bit colder than ours, but a family from here who visits there shared that some of the best church services they had is the openly acknowledged pastor. I think it's called a different term there, but that is openly gay, homosexual, and the sermons are great. The fellowship is excellent. The scripture readings are well researched and referenced. So, like you said, they're not people as well, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Then another thing. People go to church,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? They put in offering, They might even pay their tithes. I never heard any pastor say, don't accept that because they're gay. They gladly take it. And I know about pastors asking those same people, can you buy this or buy that or for the church, bookshelves for the church, different things.
Mm-hmm.
Let us get real, if we could say we're a Christian community.
Mm-hmm.
I know of stories, and the person went to jail for it many years ago, where a father was molesting.
Sorry, yeah, but
and the grandmother was a so-called long sleeve.
But if I can, and I share the sensitivity of it, we are cognizant that in our society we seem to turn a blind eye to so much, from those who would have a lot to drink and then get into our cars and knowingly put ourselves and others at risk, to the behaviors in our homes in all sorts of ways, the behaviors in our businesses in terms of alleged unethical, not necessarily illegal practices. So to your point, what are we doing to correct all of our sins and ills? Any quick final thoughts you may want to share with us?
Another quick one. We say we love our children. If something happened to that child that he or she needs emergency right away, let's say emergency service, and it was only gay people to do that. We do have gay people at the hospitals, What you gonna say? No. Don't attend my child. Don't touch my child because you're gay. But yet you say you love your child. You can say, oh, please, keep him alive. Keep her alive. Let's get real. It's all over the world. Let's face it. Let's face it.
Yes,
and I thank the Premier for it, and I thank you for listening.
Yes,
and those that don't like what I say, well, tough luck for them.
Thank you, Mom. And I believe that will allow us to take the final break. And when we come back, who wants to talk? We certainly will listen. Stay tuned.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands if traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing nola.sanderson@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway. Eat fresh.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
Roma United Sports Club and JN Money presents the official Jamaican Independence Celebration and Health Fair on Friday, August 6th at the Lions Center, featuring local and international acts, kids talent contest, dancing contest, and best dress contest. Lots of prizes and giveaways, plus the good Jamaican food, music by Slaughter Rich, The Entertainer, and DJ Marcus. Health Fair from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Free PSA test. Free blood pressure and diabetes checks. Don't miss it. The Jamaica Independence Celebration and Health Fair on Friday, August 6th at the Lions Center. COVID protocol in effect. Come out early. Sponsored by Cayman Art Discount, Best Dress, Papa, Cayman Hair and Beauty Supply, People's Choice Grocery, Vibe Time, Radio Cayman, and Breeze FM.
Office Supply in the Marquee Plaza on Lawrence Boulevard is a participating sponsor of the New Noko's story, the story of a modern Cayman Islands passenger ship of its era, which departed Cayman with its destination being Tampa, Florida, on July the 4th, 1936, with 22 people on board, and was never heard or seen of again. Office Supply, the back-to-school headquarters. Up to 20% discount on school supplies. Visit them today. Office Supply, 946-1200.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. So a few minutes left in the program, but still time to take a call. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Oh, not too bad. I say I don't want to get involved in that kind of argument or any kind of argument that is pointing a finger at politicians, representatives, anybody elected. I don't think that's my job, but I can tell you one thing. The job of the elected official is not an easy job, and he has to use his brain.
Right,
we don't need to necessarily understand the politician. We don't need to understand the representative or the MP. We can't expect to understand everything that we see. We can't. We can't understand it. Just take our time and be fair. Be fair to the politicians. Be fair to the representatives. Be fair to the leaders. There is such a thing as diplomacy. Am I correct, sir?
Diplomacy can really go a long ways. I mean, it's sort of one of those things that we all seem to have a little thorn in the sides or that little burr in the paw. You know, I thought if we had created a corps of diplomats as opposed to a militia, that might have been better for us when we put this regiment together. diplomats to go out and dialogue and find ways to help people as opposed to boots on the ground with guns on the back. But just a shoulder.
Yes, sir. But I mean, you see, this is one reason why I wouldn't want to be a politician, because I wouldn't be able to please everybody. And not even Jesus could have pleased everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want, as a matter of fact, I want to be the small man, the little humble little fella.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the big dog either.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Why not?
Oh, no, sir. The regular little guy. The regular fella. I want to be the small man.
So I guess sometimes they say the higher the muck will go up the tree, the more you expose yourself, right? But you're okay with being the small man?
I am. You see, there are things that the small man can observe that plenty of people can't really see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference between a pterodactyl and an ant. And the Bible speaks of the ant. So we need to look into this situation very carefully. Don't just jump and judge people because you don't know exactly what the situation is, and you don't know who is holding the big stick.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how many big sticks it is either.
Well, that's the thing, you see. I mean, and we probably don't know. Ms. Susan reminded me of something that I would just share with us. We talk about how the world runs, right, and how we look at it. I just read the first little thing. It says, go placidly in the noise and the haze. So go placidly amid the noise and the haze, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, with thus surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant, for they too have their story.
Oh, most certainly, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That is much loved.
Right?
Yes, sir.
It is unfortunate that I think that, and I say this carefully and cautiously and consciously, knowing that as we converse, there are things plaguing each and every one of us. And the notion that for some who have, take for instance our public officials, whether it's elected premier or the politicians, or whether they're pundits like, pastors and poets, as they either, write prose or prophesy or try to get engaged in scripture, sometimes, that face and that foot that they put forward isn't always, as positive and as pensive as they proffer, but it's always seemingly a desire. My friend, as you close this out today, what are your final thoughts?
I say, believe in the power. Believe in the power. We mightn't see it, but believe in the power.
Yeah,
that's my closing comment.
Yeah, man, the power. Yeah, you list out the power of love. That's not the power of faith, and the mighty power. Well, a couple of things to share with you on behalf of a wonderful lady, Miss Tipna Garten. She wants to wish her fabulous, Miss Mavis Macfield Morris, today as she celebrates her 80th birthday. Wishing her much love and blessings for many more years. This is a wonderful woman and great daughter of the Cayman soil. So, Miss Tipna, I think many of us, have always appreciated the whole notion of where we are. And maybe quickly, as I share with you, just another bit from this, and for those who listen, those who read better, will recognize from which we quote, which is, avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourselves with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater, lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Well, without to read, and maybe I should read the rest of it. Hey, today has been very trying and taxing for many. I've been unprecedented for others, and yet it's just another day that unfolds blindly to some. Well, tomorrow, my friends, my prayer is that we'll be a part of it. It'll be productive, and as we said about, with a purpose and with a positive attitude that will bring much joy to others as we look not only to our selfish ideals and to fill our own coffers, but we'll try to impart not just wisdom to others, but a sense of blessing. Join us tomorrow for more Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Until then, be blessed.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have arrived.
Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should.
Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness, beyond a wholesome discipline. Be gentle with yourself.
You are a child.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life. Keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful. Strive to be happy.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.